Hello, welcome to the video. My name's Paul and this is Paul's British English. Today we're going to talk about something which is not too difficult, but I do hear students get this wrong quite often, and it's a case of practice makes perfect here. We're going to talk about non-reversible word pairings. So words that go together, but they have to go together in a particular order. If you swap the order, if you reverse the order, it just sounds completely unnatural. Now, some of these make sense, some of them don't. Okay, some of them, I'm not sure what the reason is, I don't know why they're in that order, but some of them make sense. So to start off with, we're going to talk about two that kind of make sense. So the first one that makes sense is maybe cause and effect. Cause and effect. So it's not effect and cause, it's cause and effect. The idea behind this is the cause happens first and the cause creates the effect. So that's kind of quite logical. So I go outside without an umbrella, I get wet. So going outside without an umbrella is the cause, getting wet is the effect. If I'm in, let's say, the UK in January, it's probably raining. Okay. Another kind of logical one is supply and demand. So you have to supply something for the demand to be met. So it's not demand and supply, it's supply and demand. Now there are examples of others which don't necessarily make sense. For example, knife and fork. You don't say fork and knife, you say knife and fork. So if you're eating, you say, can you give me a knife and fork, please? Perhaps the order here is related to the fact that if you say fork and knife, it sounds a little bit like you're using some bad words in English. So you could maybe say that as a joke, but it's best to say knife and fork. Okay. Some others that kind of make sense, maybe soap and water. So not water and soap, soap and water. So you need the soap first, then you need the water, and when you mix them together you can get clean. Okay. So not water and soap, soap and water. And another one, pen and paper. So you need the paper, but without the pen you can't do anything. So the pen is the writing implement, the paper is what's receiving the writing. So some of those kind of make sense in order, but not 100%. If you analyse it too closely, the order seems quite random with some of them. It's just the way it's pronounced and the way it sounds natural. The final ones I'm going to talk about could be regarded as a little bit sexist. Okay, for example, if you're talking about a man and a woman who are married, you say husband and wife. I don't know why, but the husband comes first and the wife comes second in English when you're actually pronouncing that, husband and wife. But then if you reverse that, if you're talking about the day that somebody gets married, so the very beginning of the marriage, the wife comes first because you say bride and groom. So that could be based on stereotypes, it could be based on sexism, it could be maybe, I don't know, that the bride thinks that the wedding is more important than the groom thinks it is. Who knows? Or that maybe a wedding is something that a bride has always wanted. I'm not sure. I don't know where that comes from. But there might be an element of sexism built into that language. There are thousands of non-reversible, well, hundreds of non-reversible word combinations that you have to use in the correct order. If you don't use them in the correct order, it immediately sounds very non-native and very unnatural. Okay, so it's a case of practicing these, and maybe you can use Google to get yourself a list. If you get a big long list of these, what you can do is you can try and practice and use them in a sentence and use them correctly. And listen carefully when native speakers are speaking English, because they will naturally use these words in the correct order and you can mimic them. Okay, so this is about just trying to be as natural as you can. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Also, you can subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can like us on Facebook. You can also find us on Naver Blogs. And we have our own website, which is www.paulsbritishenglish.com. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.